Okay, so let's get right into it. For months now, Russia has been systematically hitting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. But as the temperatures drop, really plummet, this campaign has ramped up, basically turning the cold itself into a weapon against millions of people. We're going to break down exactly how this is happening, what it means for everyone on the ground, and how the world is responding. And right off the bat, let's be absolutely clear where the international community stands on this. The UN's top human rights official, Volker Turk, couldn't have been more direct. He's saying this isn't some gray area. Targeting civilians and their infrastructure is a clear violation of the laws of war. Full stop.
So, how is Russia actually doing this? Well, as we'll see in this first section, we're not talking about a few stray missiles here and there. No. All the evidence points to a deliberate, calculated campaign. It's designed to cripple Ukraine's ability to provide heat and power right when the weather is at its absolute harshest.
And this timeline, just look at the tempo of these attacks. You look at January, and there's almost no time to breathe. A major attack every few days, each one just chipping away at the energy grid. This isn't just a battle, it's a systematic siege.
And if you really want to understand the scale of this, get a load of this number. On one single night, January 20th, Russia launched over 300 drones and dozens of ballistic missiles. Just imagine trying to defend against an aerial assault that big. It's designed to be completely overwhelming, to make sure something gets through.
That military strategy, well, it has a devastating real-world impact on ordinary people. So in this next part, we're going to look at that human cost. Because behind every single one of those damaged power plants, there are millions of Ukrainians just trying to survive in the freezing cold.
You know, this slide lists the daily reality, but these bullet points, they barely scratch the surface of what this is like. This is a constant state of survival. You've got air raid sirens blaring for 8, sometimes 10 hours a day. It's not just the physical cold, it's the incredible psychological weight of never knowing when the next strike will hit.
And the damage just ripples outwards. It's not one power plant going offline and that's it. A single day of strikes in Kyiv left over 5,000 residential high-rises. We're talking buildings that are home to tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, completely without heat, in the middle of winter.
And to really get the scale of the disruption, think about this. After just one attack on January 24th, 800,000 people in the capital were plunged into darkness. That's nearly a third of Kyiv's population, all at once, from a single targeted strike. This quote from the UN's humanitarian coordinator, it just brings all those statistics right down to the human level. No power means parents can't cook a hot meal for their kids. No heat means the elderly are trapped, isolated in freezing apartments. This is the heartbreaking reality of this energy war.
So the big question is, why? Why is Russia doing this? Because it's not random. In this third section, we're going to dive into the military strategy. There are very clear, very calculated goals behind this campaign of what some are calling energy terror.
First, let's be clear about what's being targeted. When we say critical infrastructure, we're mostly talking about these huge power plants, thermal plants, and combined heat and power plants. You can think of them as the hearts of the energy system. They provide electricity for the grid and the centralized heating for whole city districts. You take them out, you maximize the impact on civilians.
So what's the playbook here? Well, analysis from the Institute for the Study of War suggests it's a 4-part strategy. First, cripple Ukraine's energy security. Second, demoralize the population. Third, hit their industrial capacity. And fourth, literally fracture the national power grid into these isolated islands of darkness. It's a strategy to weaken the country from the inside out.
So, is it working? This statistic is pretty chilling. D-Tech, which is Ukraine's largest private energy company, reports that its ability to generate power has been degraded by 60 to 70%. That is a massive loss, and it shows just how effective these strikes have been.
And that just raises this fundamental question, right? When your ability to generate power and heat is being systematically destroyed, in the dead of winter, how do you even begin to respond? How does an entire nation endure something like this?
This brings us to the international picture, because the world is not staying silent. This section covers the global reaction, which has been, widespread condemnation and a whole lot of alarm. From the highest levels of diplomacy to global religious leaders, the message has been pretty consistent. The UN called the strikes cruel. The OSCE, a major European security group, held a special meeting. You've got the Pope speaking out, and even neighboring countries like Slovakia are condemning the attacks. The diplomatic pressure is definitely building.
But the concern goes beyond the immediate crisis to something frankly terrifying: nuclear safety. These strikes have damaged power lines going to nuclear facilities. And get this, the Chernobyl plant, site of the world's worst nuclear disaster, was temporarily cut off from all external power. And even decades later, you need that power for critical safety monitoring.
And look, this isn't just a hypothetical risk. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the world's nuclear watchdog, is on high alert. The Director General, Rafael Grossi, has confirmed they are actively watching everything. The stakes here just could not be higher. So this all brings us to the most important question. What can actually be done? This final section is all about the urgent help Ukraine is asking for to defend its skies and to prevent an even worse catastrophe. And Ukraine's needs are very specific, and they're absolutely critical. They're asking for more advanced air defense systems, like the Patriot, to knock down these sophisticated missiles. They need specialized equipment to repair the grid as fast as possible. And, maybe most importantly, they need a steady supply of ammunition to fight off these massive, relentless waves of attacks. So we end on this question. This whole campaign has blurred the line between a military conflict and a war on a civilian population's basic ability to survive. When its season itself becomes a weapon, and the cold is used to try and break a nation's spirit, the price of survival isn't just measured on the battlefield, but in every single home left cold and in the dark.